In the first video of the channel, I talked a little bit about the 5-inch rough country kit that I have on my 2007 Chevy Silverado 1500. Today we're going to talk a little bit about my installation process, what I think of it now that it's been on the truck for almost a month, and my likes and dislikes of it and the experience all the way around. So real quick, first I bought everything for my truck about a month ago. These wheels, the tires, the lift kit, the headlights, the grill, all from American Trucks. That matters because number one, my experience with them was very good for the most part. There were some discrepancies, I think I would say, about this lift kit that I did not expect, and it has caused a couple of small issues. But overall, the rough country kit, I really, really like. So let's get under the truck and I will show you the pieces, components that came with it, front and rear. And again, this is a 5-inch lift. All right, so here we are under the truck. This is the cross member, one of the cross members that was included in it, including the skid plate under there. And I ended up having to put new axles in, new CV axles in. You can see that there. One of the pieces that came with it, or two of the pieces that came with it, are the sway bar drops, so the adapters to drop the sway bar on both sides. Came with the N3 struts, which I'll show you a little bit better picture of that in the wheel well. And then there's the steering knuckle in all of its glory. So here's a steering knuckle, you know, original caliper, original lowers and uppers. I did have to get new sway bar links. But this is where a lot of your lift is coming from, is this arm of the spindle. That arm of the spindle is quite a bit taller than the original arm that came off the truck. Now it might be a little hard to see, but here is the original cross member. And since doing this, dropped my transfer case down a little bit. This being the new cross member here, this had to get chopped off with a cutoff wheel. Not a big deal. It was about yay long. I think about 4 or 5 inches got cut off. So there is permanent modification that needs to be done to your truck. The other side, you can see the other side there. That is what it originally looked like. I didn't need to cut the other side. It is just this side that needs cut. But here's a pretty good look at it with the new cross member there. And over to the other steering, that skid plate. And into the rear here. So this is the 5-inch block that lifted the leaf springs. It came with the U-bolts, came with the block, and it came with the N3 shocks. You can see this one there and that one there and the other block on the other side. Now here's a look at the strut from the wheel well. going down inside there. Again, everything fit real well. It does come with these relocation brackets for your brake lines, and I'm going to get into those here in a second. But it does come with brake line relocation brackets for either side, and it does come with a relocation bracket for probably not very good. Probably not going to get a very good picture of it here. You can kind of see it here. Relocation bracket there that relocates the stuff for the rear end. So like I said, everything went together well. Where would I kind of put the cons in for the rough country kit? The directions were pretty good. Somebody without the mechanical knowledge that I have and the guy that was helping me has, if without that mechanical knowledge, that level of mechanical knowledge, the directions would have been way worse. But understanding suspension, understanding what does what and how things bolt in and things like that, the directions were pretty good. So if you are a novice, or if you think this is going to be like your first project mechanically, I would highly suggest against it, because it's just that I just don't think the directions are worded, and the pictures aren't done in such a way that I think that a novice mechanically is going to get through it very easily. So I don't know how well you can see it with the sunlight and all that, but the relocation brackets for your brake lines, I do not like. They did work. I would have paid more for the kit if it came with a piece of brake line, like a piece of braided brake line, for you to actually extend the brake line, as opposed to having to bend it, because these relocation brackets, while they do get the brake line down far enough, you are required to physically bend the brake line in order to get it there. And if you've ever bent brake line, especially by hand, it kinks very easily. And you're required to bend this area here. And on this side, it wasn't so bad because the brake line goes in beside the frame, and so it sort of just fell down. But on the passenger side here, behind here, like I actually had to unbend some of the line, and that gets really sketchy. So I really wish they would have just offered like a 5 or 6 inch braided or rubber brake line that connects to here, the nut here, and extends the brake line out, just for the convenience of not having to accidentally kink your brake line. So I mentioned some potential description problems on the American Trucks website. So the American Trucks website says that on stock rims, on OE rims, you can run a 33-inch tire on this. Well, you can't run OE rims at all on this. These have a dish, these have an offset, which is the only thing that saved me. But the original equipment 17-inch rims that came on this truck rub the rim of it, the back bead of it, rubs that arm that comes up off the spindle or off the steering knuckle. So I couldn't remount. I was actually in a position where I was waiting on my appointment to get these mounted and balanced. The lift kit was on, and I was just going to put the original tires and wheels back on just for a day or two. Well, I couldn't. And lucky for me, Discount Tire said, yeah, we can get you in right now. And I was able to mount and balance these and get these on the truck, because I couldn't have gotten it off the jack stands without it. So that's number one. You can't run an OE wheel with this. Number two, the description says two different things. It says you can run a 33-inch tire on a 20-inch rim, if I remember correctly how it's worded, but it says you can run a 33-inch tire, but then it says the max tire size is 36. These are 35s. These are 35-inch Toyos, RTs. They are 35, 12.5, R17. And I have chopped about as much out of everything here and back off the fender here a little bit and gutted the back side of the fender a little bit, as much as I really can before I'm already exposing my washer fluid tank here. Chopping the inner fender up any higher isn't going to do any good because the washer tank is still there. And so I am getting a lot of rubbing on my tires on the inner fender well, even though I have cut 8 inches off of them, 7 inches off of the inner fender well, and chopped my front fender back for clearance. So a 36-inch tire is definitely a no-go. So I'm really glad. Number one, I'm glad I got these wheels with the offset, and that I only went 35 instead of 36. Otherwise, I'd be in a world of hurt. Now, I do want to caveat what I just said about the clearance issues and all that. Had I done my part and gone to the Rough Country website, the Rough Country website has the information that I would have needed to make the decision. I would have put a 6-inch lift on this instead of a 5, and I wouldn't have had near, if any, of the issues that I'm currently having. So I'm in a position now where I sort of play nice until these tires run out in a few years, wear out in a few years, or I put an extra inch. I go ahead and get a 6-inch lift for the back because it's cheap, they're inexpensive, and add an inch to the front or something because, I'm just kind of put in that position by the American Trucks description. But the Rough Country description, had I done my part, would have told me everything I needed to know, and I wouldn't be in this position now. So from the Rough Country end, I think this is a really good lift. The shocks and struts seem to work very well. I've done a certain amount of sort of rough, uneven terrain with this truck so far in the last month. And as far as fitment and how everything went together, it went together great. All right, everybody, if you like this sort of content, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to hit all notifications. Leave a comment down below if you have experience with the Rough Country lift kits and things like that. Appreciate everybody out there watching. Stay tuned for more on the truck, the trailer build, and all of that good stuff. We'll talk to you guys later.